How much should you have saved? Let's talk about it. All right, man. Your boy has been gone, man. I'm excited to be back. Excited to get back to creating content more consistently and whatnot. I was gone. I do have another job outside of this. I have my everyday job, of course. So we had a region meeting. I was in a whole nother area, whole nother location, whole nother state, but it was kind of good to get away, good to have a little bit of fun, get away for a little bit, enjoy myself, have a reset, have a mental reset. So then I can come back now, be rejuvenated, energized, and ready to be consistent with making this content for y'all, pushing it out, growing this channel, and continuing, man, to just evolve. I don't know if y'all could tell, I got a new light in here. I feel like it's helping the brightness in here because I feel like the brightness was a little bit down in my video. So hopefully this helps, build that and just build the quality, of my videos, build the quality of this channel, and like I said, keep growing every day, man. So today we're here to talk about saving. How much should you have saved? We're gonna weigh in on some people's opinions. I'm gonna give my food for thought. We're just gonna have a good conversation about this, man. So let's go ahead and get into it.
If you're between the ages of 25 to 40, how much should you have in your savings account? Now, if you do not have your savings in a high yield savings account, you're missing out on potential earnings that you could have because of the yield on the high yield savings account is higher than one at a traditional bank. The rule of thumb is normally to have 3 months worth of savings in your savings account. But now if you're the sole breadwinner in your family, it all depends on what you're comfortable with. Some people are comfortable with 6 months because they're the only person providing for their family. So they're comfortable with having a little bit more cushion just in case. Now, the best way to figure out how much you need is to add up all of your expenses, your mortgage, your rent, your car loan, your insurance, your phone bill, all of your necessities, add them all up and figure out how much that's going to be on a monthly basis and multiply that by 3, by 6, by 12. So you can figure out how much you need for your savings account. I don't believe that you should only have $1,000 in your savings account because $1,000 in this economy is literally going to last you 2 days. When it comes to savings, let me know what's your rule of thumb on how much you want to keep in your savings account.
All right. So let's talk about that a little bit. I think she mentioned a couple of good pieces, right? She mentioned having a high yield savings account, having 3 to 6 months worth of savings. Now, me and what I've learned on my financial journey as far as growing, saving, investing, and all those good things is I feel like she also spoke about this current economy. I feel like in this current economy, 3 to 6 months is kind of becoming the old, I would say, norm, the old way of thinking almost. To me personally, I feel like maybe you should even have a year or maybe 2 years at some points worth of savings, depending on your lifestyle, because I feel as if, especially young people, she mentioned between 20 to 25, those are your years where you're gonna want to get out, adventure, and do a bunch of different things, right? I would say not even just 20 to 25, but your whole 20s, even part of your 30s, you want to maybe explore life a little bit, enjoy life, build maybe a family, build your first home, whatever it is, right? I feel as if when you're finding yourself in those prime years, you want to give yourself cushion. So maybe, okay, I want to transition from this job. And sometimes that involves, let me take some time to reset, see another side of life, whether that's going to another country, traveling the world, sightseeing, whatever it is, just finding yourself in general, finding your passions, finding what you want to do with your life, right? And that may take more than just 3 months, more than just 5 months, 6 months. It may take a year, sometimes 2 years, and I feel like giving yourself that grace and budgeting and disciplining yourself and sacrificing to be able to be ready and prepare for that moment. Because say, hey, that doesn't even happen, right? Say you don't, lose your job or you don't quit your job, you love your job, whatever, and you're just building your cushion. Now you have built yourself a little bit of cushion, right? You've built yourself a good fund to where, okay, I know when all else fails, I'm good. And sometimes when all else fails, that may come at the right point in your life. Or if all else fails, like, I'm going to be able to support my family. I'm gonna be able to either help this person. I'm gonna be able to stretch here. I'm gonna be able to start this. Oh, I have a new passion I found. I have a business I want to start. I have this idea. I have that idea. I have the capital already there to put me in a good spot. So, okay, maybe I don't have to go take out no loans. Maybe I don't have to wait as long as I would have to if I didn't necessarily have that fund to get started, right? I can go live a little bit more freely, live a little bit more loosely. Maybe some of the little tiny little knickknacks that I like every day, whether it's my coffee, whether it's my this, whether it's this snack, whether it's this water, whether it's all these different things that some people say don't do, don't eat, don't have, don't like, don't buy, whatever it is, you can be able to have those things and not feel so if not feel so much self guilt about it, right? I feel as if giving yourself grace, having these different means in place is the best way to live because ultimately it'll give you a peace of mind, give you a sense of clarity, and give you more overall freedom. All right, let's get back into the video.
I don't know why, but someone told me 20K is like the minimum to have saved in your savings.
Yeah, so 20K is a lot in this situation. I would actually recommend that you save 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved up in a high yield savings account. That's probably the safest thing to do. However, if that goal is still too high and you still have, let's say, existing credit card debt, then the first thing that you should do, especially if you have no savings whatsoever, is at least get to $1,000 in savings. The idea is that the average American can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense. So if you have at least $1,000, that's a really good start. And second, it's psychological. Getting to $1,000 is a very important milestone for many people because it's 4 figures in their bank account where maybe they weren't used to saving before. So if you get to that $1,000 mark, then it's going to really encourage you to start paying off that debt and even accruing more savings in your bank account. If you want to be super conservative, you can go 6 to 12 months of emergency expenses. I generally have 12-ish months of emergency expenses saved up that I just never touch. After that, you can start investing, etc. But I still think your baseline amount that you save every paycheck should at least be 15% gross.
Me personally, I would say depending on the age, depending on the circumstance, if you have a family, maybe a little bit more than 20,000, definitely. Single, I would say an overall good number for anyone baseline is somewhere around the $50,000 mark, right? And this is just in savings because if you own a home, right, and you have a whole family, put it in this perspective, and something goes out and it costs $3,000, right? Now you already have $47,000. Say you lose your job, you got to be able to live for a little while. Kids have medical bills, kids have outside plans outside of school as far as sports. Kids have just different things you want to do. And then you yourself, maybe your wife, whoever it is, has things that maybe you want to do, bills, et cetera, home things, car things, all these different things that you got to be able to support for an extended time until you're able to get back on your feet, right? That's why the savings is important because you also never know what life tragedies may happen. And 20K, I feel like that can run out like substantially fast. Like nowadays with rent, 1,500, now you're at 18.5. Unexpected, like I said, housing, issue, right? Couple thousand. Now you're maybe around 15 to 16,000, right? Then you maybe have a medical bill, maybe you have this, maybe you have that. Like that 20K can run out very, very fast. So to me, especially if you have a family, somewhere around 50K. Single, maybe you have a little less, depending on your lifestyle, depending on where you live and things like that. But to me, I would say maybe 20K in this economy, baseline like that is a little low. Also, he mentioned having 1,000 and having your money in a high yield savings account. Again, that's a topic that's brought up. High yield savings account. A high yield savings account to me, if you want to keep cash, is probably the best thing, having that or a money market account, right? Because if you just have your money sitting in a general checking account or a regular savings account, you're just missing out on a bunch of interest free money you can be getting every month, right? And you'll be surprised how many people don't know about a high yield savings account, don't know about a money market account, don't know about this investing account, whatever it is, right? So I would say to everybody, be a little smarter with your money, right? Learn about money, learn about finances. I feel like once I took that next step to actually learn about budgeting, learn about finances, learn about investing, saving, all these different things, my whole mindset about money shifted even more from the perspective of I thought I was good with money, and I was okay with money. And I was like, okay, I'm not really that fearful of money no more. fearful. I would say I'm not that fearful of money anymore. But when I started even learning more about money, it's like money is easy now, right? Like, I feel like I don't worry about like how can you make money, when you learn how to maneuver with it as far as use it and things like that. So I feel like it gives you a sense of ease, a sense of clarity and stuff like that when you really take the time to understand money, understand how to invest it, understand what economy you're actually living in. We live in a capitalist credit economy, right? So learn how to take advantage of that kind of economy. Don't think, oh, this person not looking out for me. This is this way, that is that way. I can't never get ahead. Like, just learn the circumstance you're in and adapt to that, right? Because we're never going to change the system, no matter who's in office, no matter what party is, no matter what it is. The system is a system, and that's how it was created, and that's how it was founded, and it's been that way for years and hundreds of years, and it's going to stay that way, right? So your biggest tool is to learn how to game the system, learn how to use the system to your advantage. It's a business friendly system. It's a business friendly system. Create yourself a business, right? It's investing, stock market, XYZ capitalist system. Learn how to use that, right? It's a compounding interest system. Learn how to use that. It's a credit based system. Maybe learn how to use that depending on if you like debt and your tolerance and everything like that. It's figuring out your own risk management and all those kinds of things, right? Figure out what you want to do, figure out your financial plan, all that good stuff, right? Let's get back to the video.
I'm very curious. I'm a few years short of 30, but I always wonder, like, how much do people my age frame have in their savings account, like, or their checking account? Because, yeah, I've noticed, like, a lot of times I'll ask people, like, about, like, finances and stuff, and I've learned that a lot of people keep their expenses in their bank account ahead of time. And when they say they don't have extra money, the extra money is coming from, like, me not having extra money outside of the money I need for my bills, or me not having extra money outside of my savings account or stuff like that. But it's crazy because when I say I don't got no fucking money, or when I say I have $300, bitch, I only have $300. Like, literally, it's only $300 in my bank account, savings, everything all together. So, like, yeah, I'm curious, like, how much do the average adult in their 20s, mid 30s, or whatever, actually 20s to 30s, I need to hear about people in my age frame. I don't want to hear about people in their 40s. Y'all already done had y'all time to build y'all career. I'm talking about people that's young, trying to get it, really grinding right now. People my age in their late 20s. How much do y'all have in, like, y'all savings account, if you don't mind me asking?
All right, I figure let me take a little look at some of these comments real quick, right? So the first comment you see is someone says at age 28 they have savings at 22,000, okay, and they have their checkings at 300. Now that ratio is not bad, especially depending on if you have your stuff automated, how your bills flow, things like that. I would say me personally, to feel a little bit more comfortable, I keep a little bit more on my checkings, maybe a couple thousand. And that's more so because I do have a lot of things that are automated as far as even investing, some bills, things like that, right? And I don't want to never not have enough in there, accidentally, not because I don't have the money, but because I just accidentally, I'm like not paying attention to it, doesn't cross my mind or something like that, right? So I keep a couple thousand there just to make sure I cover everyday expenses, my bills that flow through every so often, every month, just things like that, right? And then we see the savings 22K. Hopefully that's in a high yield savings account because you can be getting a whole lot of interest on that every month and just continue to grow that savings account. So that's not bad. And age 28, I don't know. I'm not no finance guru expert of how much you actually should have saved, what your net worth should be, and all those good things like that at age 28. But I would tell that person, keep going. Like, you got a good foundation in your head. You got a good base of how you want to save. Now, I would say take that next step and start investing, right? Like, you have 22,000 in a savings account. Start learning. I don't know if you have money invested, but start investing. That'll help you actually grow that 22,000 way more than you actually just saving money every month, right? All right. Another funny comment. Someone said, "Ask me after tax season." Okay. Someone says from 2025, I've had about 15K to 20K consistently. That's not bad. And then I'm 27, now over 50,000. That's actually not bad at all in my opinion, right? Because I look at where I'm at. I'm 25 now. I have a little bit lofty goals. I'm coming in and I'm counting my days down. I'm approaching on 100K net worth. I have no debt, no liabilities or anything like that. So I'm kind of proud of that. And basically all the money and the net worth that I have is going to be basically like almost really like liquid. It's either invested or in a money market account, have a high yield savings account, things like that, right? So to me, that's one of my goals, is to get that first 100K and then eventually have 100K invested, and then eventually just keep building on from there and there, right? Because it's different having 100K net worth and having 100K invested on top of whatever else you have outside of that and outside of those investments, right? So that's my personal goals. So I know the kind of work it takes to kind of get there, the saving, the discipline, and all that you have to do. So kudos to that person. And just to also kind of touch on what the girl in the video was talking about, she says she's kind of curious. She says if she has money, then that's all she gotta has. I tell people all the time, now that I've kind of, dibbled and dabbled and invested in and learned about finances more, what are your everyday habits like, right? Because sometimes people say they don't have any money, but you just don't have any discipline, right? You just don't have any motivation to be disciplined, to look at your money habits, put money away, put money aside, let it grow, just be able to look at it, smile sometimes. So sometimes you look at it and be like, wow, man, like I can't believe sometimes I do have that kind of money, especially if you're like me and you don't come from seeing that kind of money or never was around family or anything who had that kind of money. So this is like your first touch of that. Sometimes it is human nature. I remember I felt it before, like, okay, I want to go spend it, or I want to go do something with it. I want to look like the part now that I have it. But that's not how you become wealthy. That's not how you build generational wealth. If that's your goal, that's not how you build personal wealth for yourself, and get to your financial goals, to live comfortably and eventually have enough investments and enough just money saved up to where that money ultimately starts working for you. That's why people say put it in this type of savings account, invest it this way, do this with it, do that way with it, because once you get to a certain point, the amount of money you can save is not going to equal the returns you can get either in the stock market or whatever it is, right? Like you can make more money in the day once you get to maybe a few $100,000 invested than you can actually just putting money in every month and saving. Your returns, especially if the market is up, is going to, double or triple whatever you could put in that sometimes. So to me, I would say to anyone between that 20 to 30 range, this is them foundational years. Get your money right. It's okay if you go have fun. You want to go to a concert, eat out, do this, have fun, travel a little bit. I understand all those things. Trust me. But this right here, having this time in, will make you feel so much better, because when maybe if you don't have kids yet and you decide, okay, I want to have a kid, you're going to be like, I'm glad I spent those few years investing, getting myself right, getting myself prepared, because now I can't invest the same. I can't spend the same. I can't do this the same. Can't do that the same. And if you already have a good foundation built, that's also going to continue to earn and stack money, like I said, in the stock market or something, right? Or a high yield savings account, that okay, I have that good foundation and I can only add this much to it. But again, that's that baseline a lot of people speak about. So get your money right, get your habits right. Everybody has their own journey, and just don't be afraid to start yours. All right.
I've saved over $50,000 in my 20s. I switched up my saving strategy and finally found something that worked. Some of you have been asking, how much of your income are you actually supposed to save? Like, is there a percentage or a number that you should be using as a guideline? Here is the exact savings guideline that I use for my retirement savings, and then also for my short-term goals like my emergency fund and my wedding fund. You can obviously increase or decrease these percentages as you see fit. And here's an example with one of my bi-weekly paychecks. If you want to figure out how much you should save out of every paycheck, watch this video back again and follow me for more money money tips and tricks.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a prime example. In the caption, it said she wasn't even 27 yet. It said how much she saved before the age of 27. Um, to me personally, that is a good, I would say baseline she has. I'm kind of almost I'm not almost, I am in the same boat. I have more than 50,000 saved, before the age of 27, right? So she also mentioned things like having money in a fund that she's saving for her wedding, right? I think that's also another good thing to touch on as far as investing, saving goes, and all that good stuff. Figure out what's important to you, right? Figure out what your saving goals are, what you want to save for, what things you don't mind spending a little bit more money on, what things you're like, okay, I'll sacrifice this because I don't need this as much, right? I don't need to spend as much money on this. This isn't as important as this other thing. And weigh those things out, because when you start doing that, that creates a disciplined mindset. That creates okay, I can give up this for a greater, cause, or a greater feeling of relief later on in life. That creates that consistency. That creates that, what's the right term for it? I can't get it in my head right now. Delayed gratification, right? Create that delayed gratification for yourself, because now it's like, took the effort, made the steps, and did what I needed to do to put myself in a comfortable position to where, okay, before that maybe wasn't an option for me, but now it is, right? But that's only going to come because I decided to inform myself about financial literacy, be disciplined, have the ultimate self-consistency and self-respect to make my life more easy and not be as stressed as some people are because they didn't take those same steps. I enjoy kind of talking about this stuff. I enjoy talking about finances, financial literacy and stuff like that, because that's something I'm big on. That's something that's part of really my everyday life now, right? Like, I feel like I'm always watching a financial video, whether I'm in a shower, or whether I'm in a shower and I'm listening to it, right? I'm on the road in the car and it's playing through the speakers rather than me just listening to some music. I feel like I'm always trying to stay informed, even what's going on currently in the economy, what things are happening as far as bills being passed, laws, just things that overall affect, okay, how I should maneuver and what I should do with my money, So for anyone out there, please take this first step to building financial freedom, building financial wealth, building yourself a good little piggy bank to where you could look at it and be like, this is a satisfying feeling. Because I promise, once you get to a certain point, you're going to be like, this is a satisfying feeling. And it's going to make you be like, I got to go even harder now, right? I got to double this. You're going to start setting just goals that you probably couldn't even imagine, right? You're going to be like, okay, my saving goal this year is $30,000. And before, you're going to be like, man, I could barely save $1,000. Now I'm talking about 30,000 is my goal to either save or just that's investing, and my savings go on top of that is to save 50,000 on whatever this is over here, right? And you're just gonna have these different goals that you were so unobtainable, and now it's like that is your life, So I want everyone to get to that point, because I'm a living proof of that, and I feel like everyone you're gonna wake up different when you don't have that stress of how do I pay my bills, or stress of where is this money gonna come from if X, Y, and Z happen, right? So